They don't want us to be like the 1%, but I do, so let's talk. So here are 3 reasons why I would never ever buy a shared ownership property. And if my siblings or my little cousins ever told me that they were thinking about buying a shared ownership property, I genuinely would fight them. Personally, I feel like it's such a scam. So shared ownership is a government-backed scheme to allow more people to buy a property by purchasing a share of that property, and the shares are usually 25 to 75%. So here are 3 reasons as to why I personally would never buy shared ownership. So 1, you are paying rent and mortgage. So let's say you own 25% share. On that 75% that you don't own, you're paying rent. And then on top of that, you're paying a mortgage. So you're essentially paying more than if you were to rent or if you were to go down the traditional mortgage. So that to me just doesn't make any sense. Why not just rent, or why not just, when you have enough deposit, buy a deposit? But to do both at the same time, that reason alone would just put me off. Number 2, service charge or fees can be really high. So typically shared ownerships are in new builds, and new builds come with high maintenance costs. And who pays it? Not the government, the person who owns the small share of that property. And the cost can be really high. So you're paying for things like a gym or any services in the building, maintaining the property, for example, lifts, service charge, that can be really high, and it's determined by the owner of that property, because essentially it's usually a leasehold. You don't really find shared ownerships that is a freehold. So the person that owns the freehold can determine how much or how little the service charge is, and it can fluctuate year on year. So the fact that you're paying mortgage, rent, service charge, and any other fees, the outgoings must be so high just on this one property. And lastly is staircasing costs, which can be really high. So if you want to increase your percentage from 25% to 30%, then there's costs that come with this, which includes legal costs, valuation fees, and any potential price hike. So price hikes is when you want to increase your share, the price of the additional share is based on the new current value. So for example, if you bought a 25% share and the price of the property was 300k, but you want to increase your share to 30%, and the value of the property has increased to 350k, this now means that the additional 5% will now be based on the new value, so will now be based on the 350k, not the 300k that you originally bought the house for. So you're essentially paying much more over time as you want to continue to grow your shares. So if you are thinking about shared ownership, then please do your research. There are so many. This was 3 out of the whole list that I have. And if you want me to do another video, I will happily do another video on why I would never buy a shared ownership. But please do your research. That's all you can do. Is once you've done your research and you feel comfortable with your decision, then you'll have no regrets. But you have to do your research.